26th of September, and my name is Kalle from Kalle Rock, and we are sitting here in a K17. We are sitting here in a backstage in a bus, and my name is Kalle, as I told you, and next to me is sitting
Kjetil, the singer of Tristania.
What was the name?
Kjetil Nordhus. Kjetil is an old Norse name, and my surname is basically the house in the north.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you're from Norway, we have to say, though that's the reason why North name. Do you have a nickname?
My nickname is often Kjetil, yes.
Kjetil?
Yeah.
Okay, did I pronounce it right? Kjetil?
Approximately right, yeah.
Okay. I'll say you.
Yes.
That's better.
Yeah.
What was your first experience with the metal music and rock music as you were a child? Was it your influenced by parents or brother or sister?
No, basically by my friends, I think. I had an older brother who wasn't really into metal at all, and also parents that wasn't really into metal at all, but I just discovered it like, I guess, AC/DC and stuff like that when I was about like 10 years old. And previously to that, I've been listening a lot to Beatles, actually.
Okay.
I fell for that when I was just a little kid. So yeah, and from then on, and when the CD came and all that, I'm that old, you see, so I remember when the CD came. I remember the first time I listened to a CD in my life. Which was a great experience, I thought, of the time.
Do you also remember what was the first CD?
I think the first CD I ever listened to was some kind of CD with Accept.
Oh, yeah.
A live CD, if I can't remember, if I don't remember wrong, but I really can't remember the title of it. It was a live CD of Accept, I'm quite sure. Yeah, but then. And I've always been like into many different genres, and when I was about like 10 or 12 years old, I also fell for Tom Waits, which is still one of my favorite artists, where I find many of the same kind of themes and energy and stuff that I can find in metal music. So basically, I've been listening a lot to metal music, obviously, but also I've been listening to, I would almost say, all other kinds of music as well. That might be a boring answer, but that's true.
So open-minded.
Yeah, I think you have quality within all genres, absolutely all genres, and you have bad music within all genres as well.
Yeah. And you listen first to international bands like AC/DC and Accept and that. What about the Norwegian bands?
Yeah, there were some Norwegian bands earlier on today of the day, which probably you never heard about. But after growing older, I've also become more interested in checking out Norwegian bands that sing in Norwegian. I find it very interesting I find it kind of not now we're with Tristania, we're singing in another language, which is basically the language of the genre. Yeah. So it was always natural for the band to do it in English. But I've also done some work in Norwegian the last few years, which is I think very different. It's very much closer, and it makes you think about every word you sing in a different way. And so I've been listening a lot to Norwegian music, also within all genres the last few years, and it's got a different level. Obviously, English-speaking artists, and also, of course, people with English as a second language can also write great lyrics. But I do think the one in your own language is kind of maybe closer to you, to your identity. Yeah. So I'm really listening to a lot of Norwegian music in Norwegian now.
Okay, cool. And maybe you produce an album in Norwegian for Tristania?
Yeah, well, actually, the very, very last part of the last song of the Rubicon album, our last album, was actually a part in Norwegian, in the dialect from the area the band is from. So we kind of begun to flirt a little bit with Norwegian in the band as well. So we have been talking about maybe doing a song or choruses or whatever in Norwegian this time, because I do think our fans would be into that as well, and but it would maybe be a bit drastic to do an entire album in Norwegian, I would guess.
Yeah. and really difficult to bring it out in all other countries. But some other bands from Finland, like Legalize, they bring some songs in Humpa style and in Finnish, and you don't understand, but you make party. So maybe we will see what happens.
yeah, and some of my favorite bands like sing. There's this band called Sigur Rós, which is an Icelandic band which don't really sing in any language. They just like make sounds, and it sounds like a language, but it doesn't mean anything. So that means that the person listening to the words, which is not really words, they put their own meanings into the words, so a song can mean different things from listener to listener, and I find that quite interesting as well.
That's really interesting, yeah. Maybe I'll listen to the band too. From Iceland, you say?
Yeah, it's an amazing band. Absolutely amazing. One of the best bands in the world.
Okay. Let's come back a little bit to your history. When did you start to sing?
I was quite late starter, actually. I didn't really sing in a band until I was 23 or 24.
Okay.
I used to play bass in a few local bands first, and then I used to do like harmony singing and stuff. And after a while I started a band, a Faith No More cover band with a few of the guys in Trail of Tears, which I ended up joining after a few years.
Yeah.
And we still have the band today with the drummers from Trail of Tears and Sirenia, Jonathan. And we have the previous guitarist in Trail of Tears and me as the previous singer in Trail of Tears as well. And it's that was cool. So we still do one or two gigs every year when in holidays and stuff when everybody's back home, you know. So yeah.
Was it your first band you ever played in?
No, I did play bass in a few bands before that, and that was metal bands, doom metal bands mostly.
What was the name of your first band you ever played in? Could you remember?
Yeah, it was the beautiful name Devastator. Yeah.
Sounds more like thrash metal.
Yeah, maybe it did. I guess we didn't even know what it meant. It just sounded cool.
And you played your own songs?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And you already was a songwriter, or do you start as a songwriter later?
Yeah, quite much later actually. Okay. So after being in that Faith No More cover band, obviously we didn't write any of that material. I was asked by a guy called Short, which is like a kind of a black metal legend in Norway. He used to play in the early days of Emperor and Satyricon, and he was going to do this concept album with his band called Green Carnation. And the concept album was going to be called Light of Day, Day of Darkness, and it was going to be one piece, one song, one track for 60 minutes.
Wow.
And that was my first kind of that was my way into the metal, I wouldn't say business, but the metal scene. They already had an international record contract with the Prophecy Productions here in Germany, and we released that album to amazing reviews all over the world, and I didn't really know what hit me because I was really prepared for people actually taking note of what we did.
Yeah. And how old are you?
I'm 37 now.
And you started?
By that time, that was in 2001.
So 11 years,
yeah,
25.
Yeah, something like that.
So, and could you remember your first concert you ever played? Which club and which date, and what was it for a feeling to be on stage with a band and play music for the crowd?
As a singer, and this is actually quite crazy.
No, your first concert ever.
Yeah, I remember my first concert ever. That was probably at the local culture house back home in my little village in Norway. You have these kind of youth competitions, not competition, they don't call it competition, but you have this there's young bands from the area who gathers, and one goes through to the national final and stuff like so. There's national competition. And almost everybody in Norway doing music in the age of between, let's say, 12 and 18, they participate there. Okay. So, and I did too.
So your first concert was in this youth club, and what was it for a feeling to be on stage and play your music for the crowd?
It was. I think I was incredibly nervous. I was a horrible bass player, and I still am. I still play bass, but I'm not a good bass player. Technically, but I think. But also, I guess it gave me a kick of being there in front of people and playing for the girls in my school and stuff. That was, of course, a big thing. And I don't think it sounded that bad. I haven't heard it actually. We didn't record any rehearsals, and I do think there is one video from one of maybe the second or third gig or something, but I'm not completely sure I want to see it again.
Why?
I don't know.
Maybe it's good to know how you developed.
Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun, of course. Yeah, but I don't think we were that bad. But we did our own songs. We did a few cover songs as well, and yeah, it's good memories.
Was it easy to play metal in Norway?
I think still I work with music back home now, with the younger people and helping them out. You know, I'm the manager of a like a regional office, which is kind of a competence center for the music business in the southern parts of Norway. And I help even record labels and booking agents and artists and everything with the music scene. I help them kind of develop, and I do like courses for them. I hire people to do courses for them and stuff. And I can't really remember your question anymore. What was it?
Is it easy to play metal in Norway?
Yeah, and by doing this I meet many people, and metal is huge in Norway. I guess that's the way it is in most parts of at least Europe, that if you're between 10 and 15 and are going to start with an instrument, you would as a guy choose the guitar and play metal music.
And how would you say develop the metal music in Norway from the old heavy metal style? I mean, here in Germany we got Accept as one of the first bands, 1971, 72, and now we got so much hardcore and deathcore metal bands here. Perfectly in Berlin, we have so much from them. No melodic, no power metal, good bands. We have really brilliant bands, Metal Lord, Thunder and Lightning, but not that really high bands here in Berlin. What about in Norway?
I think in Norway obviously is most well known for the black metal, I guess, internationally, and that's still influencing new bands, I think. You have I would say the best metal band in Norway today is a band called Kvelertak, which is influenced by both the punk scene and the black metal scene, and I think that's an awesome combination, and I absolutely love the band. It's the best live band you'll ever see, I think. And,
I've never seen them before.
No, it's amazing, and I think they brought into some of the Norwegian heritage, the black metal they brought in, and it was interesting to see, bands like Ulver, which used to be like grim black metal. They're doing the avant-garde stuff, like Borknagar and stuff, involving other genres and evolving their own heritage, and I find that really interesting. There's many bands who do that, and also of course Emperor doing kind of new influences all the time. So I think the black metal kind of is maturing now, and it's more kind of open-minded. Obviously you have the grim black metal thing still, which is also cool. But I do think the pioneers of the black metal in Norway, they're still doing interesting stuff. And I also think young people that has the history in mind, they will be influenced by that somehow. And I think there's a lot of interesting combinations with new music. Obviously, people are listening to American music as well, and you say the hardcore, metalcore, and blah 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 blah. You have that kind of stuff in Norway as well. I guess you have that all over the world. But so there are different kinds of stuff. But I do think many young bands do have this Norwegian heritage in their music.
It's crazy that Norway is a black metal country, Sweden more heavy metal and also death metal, and Finland is more melodic and power metal, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really think of that before, but yeah. It's kind of very different. Although of course you have black metal bands in Sweden as well, obviously. But but I agree with you. It's like three different kinds of things. Yeah.
As you said before, that it's really important to have a special image for the band. How important is it right now? Because on the internet we have so many bands who came up and say, "Hey, we want to be rock stars." How important is it to create an image, and what would you say, what is the first step to create an image for a band right now?
Well, I think every band that tries to create an image is wrong from the first second, because I think an image should be the natural thing. An image of the band should be the sum of the people in the band, basically, and that's not kind of something you can plan it somehow, but you cannot just take something and adopt it, because then it would look, it wouldn't suit, I think.
But what about like bands like Steel Panther or Lordi with costumes and some roles?
Yeah, I think, but that's a different thing. That's a part of a bigger like entertainment thing, I think, which is obviously fine, and also of course Rammstein and bands like that. But that's a part of the package, you know, and to do that package 100% like Rammstein does, they do need their costumes and they need their pyro and they need everything, you know. But for bands that like more about the music and the music only, I think to kind of plan many like image things could be successful, but sometimes it's very many times it's not successful. I've even seen like black metal bands in Norway where only one of the guys have costume on and the rest of the guys have their white t-shirt and jeans, you know, and that kind of I didn't believe in that band to say the least. But you're talking about the internet and stuff, and there's many good things and many bad things about the democracy on the internet, because it makes everybody have the possibility to stand out. There's nobody deciding who's going to stand out anymore. So where you had, say, radio stations in the 60s, in the 60s or 50s and 60s, you had record labels and they only released a few LPs every year, you know, and they were the quality kind of filter for the music. And then 60s and 70s, you had radio stations, which you can say a lot about, but there was a filter there. And after the internet came, there's no filter anymore. So I have to say, I got really sick and tired of metal music a few years ago after MySpace came.
Yeah, true.
And I was exposed to so much crap, you know. And I kind of lost my faith in the entire genre. But then I started to think about it's probably the same in all other genres as well. Of course it is. The only difference is that a band from somewhere, some little place I've never ever kind of would have been to, they can pop into my mailbox whenever they want, and that's the big difference from before. So but obviously that's a good thing as well, because there are so many bands. Just think about how many fantastic bands you'll never hear about, even with the internet. And before that, you know, there were so many fantastic bands we never heard about before the internet as well. So now it's at least, I guess, for some good bands, the internet is a great thing. But I do think many bands kind of destroy maybe they release things too early, and then you have, I remember that name, that was horrible, you know, and the next release can be good, you know. So people have to be careful about how to use internet, and because if you're Rammstein or if you're a very unknown band with no quality, for example, you have the same chance to shine, kind of. That's an extreme example, of course, but you know what I mean.
And what would you say is the first good step for the band? Would you say get your own experience, or would you say take a manager or take a booker with you first, that you get a good step into the business?
I would say it's a problem for a band to get a manager when you don't earn any money, because the manager is gonna live from your money. And that's why I always tell young bands in Norway, which I talk to, is that do it yourself first, and whenever you become interesting for a manager to work with, and that's going to be because you earn money and you're active, people are going to come to you. Obviously, to get help from people, they can call themselves a manager or just a helper. It's no problem, or a booking agent, you know. But I think it's very important for young bands to understand the music business, because there's with also the internet and everything and the downloading and stuff, you know, you have to do more things yourself now. It's not anymore. You cannot anymore just like sign a record label, record contract, and then lean back and everything's going to be sorted. Yeah. That's not the case anymore. That doesn't happen. Maybe on the major labels, maybe, but not even there, I think. So yeah, I would suggest that do it yourself as long as you have kind of the time for it. You'll learn a lot, and knowledge is power.
Yeah. But many bands try to get a step over casting shows, so they try to get in there and maybe win the show. What do you think about that?
Then you become that casting artist, and that's not necessarily what you want to be for the next 15 years. No. You know, you have the Idol in Norway as well, and I know personally a winner of Idol, and she's forever going to be the Idol Johan, you know? Yeah. And she was heading in another direction before she started, but now she has no choices whatsoever, because everybody in Norway would remember her as that. And then she has
a stamp on
a stamp on her. That's her. And she's never gonna be able to get out of that. I think she's okay with it, and I haven't talked to her for a while, and I think she might have chosen to do the same again, but there's so many people that doesn't really know what they're kind of leaning into. You don't even make your own music there, you know. You get like producers to make your music, and you're just gonna stand there as a doll to sing, you know.
And maybe playback.
Yeah, of course. That's the entertainment industry, you know. Yeah.
Do you ever think playback before, or something like? Do you think about to sing playback on a show?
No, that wouldn't kind of be. That wouldn't be. That wouldn't be the. No, that wouldn't be right for us. Of course, we do use some, because we don't tour with a keyboard player anymore. So we have his parts on click clash, but it's different, you know.
It's different, yeah. Of course. Yeah. It's not the voice.
No, it wouldn't really make sense for us to do that. A Tristania tour with total playback, that would be. I haven't even thought about that. No, I don't think so.
And what about an acoustic show? What about that?
Acoustic shows?
Yeah.
Actually, we have done. So we have rehearsed a few songs acoustically. Because on the last tour, one of the persons in the band was about to lose a family member by cancer, and we had no idea what on earth are we going to do if this happens during the tour. So we tried as good as we could to arrange a 20-minute set with 2 acoustic guitars and a bass and 3 singers. And I'm really, really happy we didn't have to do it. Yeah. But we have been working a little bit on that. Yeah.
To talk about a show. How important is a light show for Tristania?
Right now, for us, it's really important, because we are established as an 90s like goth metal band, and we're proud of that. But we're also something else today in 2012. Obviously, people change from the end of the 90s until 2012, and we're not different. So we think we have a good live thing going on, and we would love people to get to know the band, both in an old and new way. And hopefully on tours like this and upcoming tours also before the new album, and of course after the new album, we're going to be able to show our stuff to many people. Yeah.
How would you describe your own show? If you stand on a stage and you stand also in a crowd and see your own show, how would you describe it for fans who never seen you before?
I think the band is a lot more energetic now, because I remember Tristania from before I joined them, because then I was touring with them with other bands and stuff, so it's kind of easy for me to kind of see this from the outside a little bit as well. And I think it's a really, really much more like both aggressive and energetic show today. I think also that we have the right members to play our style of music. Our new style of music. I wouldn't say new style of music, baby, but our kind of developed style of music. And so I think you'll find we have 4 different singers who sing live. That's not very normal, I guess.
Yeah,
no. So I think you're up for an energetic show. you're up for a show with many like vocal harmonies and stuff, and you're also up for a show with songs from very early days and through the career and up to actually 2 songs that's going to be released in next May.
Cool. So next May, the new album. Yeah, what about the fans in a special country, in different countries? I would say, is it easier to play in Norway for fans? You listen to your music since the beginning, and you know your own language, or is it easier to play in Europe or in maybe USA or somewhere else?
I think it's really hard to play in Norway, actually.
Really?
Because we don't do that too often, and suddenly when we had to talk Norwegian between the songs, kind of you break out of the bubble a little bit, if you know what I mean. So, and Tristania is a band who's done 95% of all the gigs abroad. So for us to play Norway is like we do release parties back home in our hometowns and stuff, and that's cool. That's always kind of a nice evening, but. And now we've played all over the world, and I guess for me, Southern Europe and France, of some reason, is always really good for Tristania. They're always very loud.
Okay.
And London is always really good for Tristania. Mm-hmm. Also very loud crowds, and we've done Eastern Europe and Southern Europe is also. Plus, of course, when you come to Mexico and Southern America, it's a different world, you know.
Yeah, because the reason is that there's not too much metal here. Like here in Berlin, we can choose between 25 concerts per day, maybe, and in Mexico you got maybe one big concert in a month. Yeah. Sometimes. So,
yeah, of course.
But it's crazy that they all knew your songs. They can sing with you, they can make party with you, so it's a special thing. And do you remember some special thing that happened on a tour?
Yeah, it's one of my kind of most memorable moments was in a good way and in a sad way, and everything is when we played with my previous band Green Carnation in Finland. It was a weird thing with Green Carnation. We didn't have millions and millions of fans, but the fans we had was kind of absolutely
true.
So extremely. And there was this guy who said that he lost his father by cancer, and on the way back from the funeral, his best friend, or I think it was his brother, died in a car accident. And after that day, he had been listening to a song that I wrote the lyrics for, called Lullaby in Winter, and he'd been listening to that song every single day since, and he meant that was the song who kept him from still being alive. And he told me that after. I get goosebumps when I talk about that, because that means how much, you know, how much music can mean to people. Yeah. And if he told the truth, and if I think that I might have kind of been participating in saving a person's life, that's kind of absolutely amazing, and that makes everything worth whatever, you know.
I never heard that like a story before. That's really crazy and really great that music can switch to many things. Okay, let's switch the topic and let's come a little bit to the end. You can be a manager, and you will create a new band, and the band is your all-time favorite band, which you can choose members. You can be alive or can be dead, so you can switch between rock and heavy metal or whatever you like. Which 6 members you would choose?
Yeah. I've had that question before. I think I used 2 hours on that last time I got this written interview, because there's so many to choose from. And of course, being a manager in a band, you have to think about the social aspects as well in the band, right? Because maybe not this and that person would suit too well together personally and stuff.
It's just which members came in your mind first. We would put in your all-time favorite band.
Okay. One of my real my favorite drummers is Gavin Harrison from Porcupine Tree. Mm-hmm. I've never ever heard a live drummer with a drum sound and playing like that. He's absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the first one, drummer.
That's him. On keyboards, I would choose one of my previous bandmates. His name is Bernt Moen. He used to play with me in Green Carnation, and after that he joined a Norwegian band called Shining, which is not the same as the black metal Shining from Sweden, but a Norwegian extreme metal, extreme jazz thing. And he's probably one of the, he's one of the best young jazz piano players in Norway, and he's also an amazing player when it comes to like organ and everything. You know, he's absolutely fantastic. So then we have the drummer and the keyboard player.
Yeah.
Bass player.
You?
Of course. Yeah, thank you. Of course I should play bass in that band. I have a really good timing on bass, and that's basically it. So me and Gavin Harrison would probably do a good show together. Yeah. On guitar, I would have chosen my friend Danny Kavanagh from Anathema. I guess you know about them. I think he's got something else. Both as a songwriter, and he's a great guitarist, and he's a great person. So I would love him in the band as well.
Okay. Cool.
And to fill out with solos and stuff, I think I choose Michael Krumins, which also I used to be in Green Carnation, and now he's been into Sirenia, our friends in Sirenia, a while, and now we're working together with other projects, but he's mainly doing world music now, like African, Asian music and European music. He's an absolutely fantastic guitarist, Michael Krumins. Okay. I think he and Danny Kavanagh would fill out well as well.
Okay, and now we need a singer.
Yes.
Last one. Can be female or male.
Yeah, maybe I should go for Mariangela then. I think to be honest with you, I think Mariangela de Murtas of Tristania is a hugely underrated singer. Not underrated, but not noticed. She's got an extremely cool voice, extremely nice voice, and she sings incredibly live well. And I'm really looking forward to more people getting their ears and eyes up for her. And yeah, that's part of the reason why we travel around with Tristania. So I think she deserves a place in the band. Yeah, that would be a cool thing. Yeah.
And the soundtrack, it was great.
Yeah, thank you. We had a few issues on the soundtrack, but it worked out really fine in the end.
Okay, so we got your band. So what would be the name of the band?
Oh no, that's the thing that young bands from they establish the band when they're 14 years old until they kind of make their debut when they're 18. They have like 10 different names.
The first name would come in your mind?
Yeah, it would be Devastator. Then my first band name.
Okay, so
it probably exists in Southern America and Eastern Europe and all over the world, but I would have to say that I had the name first.
Okay, so we got a name, we got the band, and now you can create one song name, one song title, and a story about in a music video. So that's the last.
Are you asking all your interviewees these
Sometimes,
questions?
Yes.
Oh my god. Well, if Danny Kavanagh was to kind of participate on the writing and the lyrics, it would probably be something like Starlight or something. He's really into the kind of nature stuff nowadays, so it would be Starlight.
Okay, Starlight is a song title, and now a story about in a music video.
Yeah, the music video would be on the island outside the town where I live in Kristiansand in Norway. That's also a story with Danny. We had a great evening out there together a few years ago, and he was extremely inspired by the sunset. Maybe the song should be Sunset instead. Okay. Yeah, let's say Sunset. Okay. And the music video would obviously be out there on the island with absolutely amazing scenery and the sea, and when the sun set.
And is it also female vocal metal, or is it from genre here?
No, it's not. It's not metal music at all. It's more like that's a calm song. It's kind of a calm song. It's with kind of with epic. The string. Yeah, epic song. Yeah, it would suit perfectly out on that island. So, okay. And I think Danny also makes epic music, and also Bant, the keyboard player, he's a master of doing these like huge string things and
with orchestra.
Yeah.
Oh,
of course. And we would have a symphony orchestra for that video as well.
Okay, we were looking forward to see it.
It's gonna be nice.
Yeah, so then I will thank you. And at last I would asking you if you can teach us some Norwegian words which we maybe use in Norway for on a concert.
Vil du ha mer? I'm gonna say that in English today. Do you want more? Do you want one more? Vil du ha mer?
Okay.
That's also, and when you say Tugabe, yeah, in Norway that's mere, eller en til. Yeah. So it's important when you're gonna tour in Norway with your band.
And what is also important is to order a beer.
Or ei øl.
Ale?
Ei øl.
Okay.
Ei is one, or øl is beer. Yes.
In Finland it's yksi olut.
Yeah. And if you want to be polite, you say ei øl takk. And takk, of course, is thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So takk is thank you, and what is please?
Please?
Please.
You can actually use takk for please as well.
It's typical in the Scandinavian countries that you don't have a word for please. It's the same in Finland.
Well, vær så snill could be please, but it's 3 words, so we don't say it.
Too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will thank you again.
Thank you.
Hope you like the questions, and the last words are for you.
Oh, thanks a lot for chatting to me and listening to me for so long.
Yeah, it was a nice talk.
Yeah, it was interesting. You brought me into many things I haven't thought about for a while. And that's also always good. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Cheers, thanks.